is BYOT. Bring your own tacos.
Dick swinging.
You're listening to American Slacker Podcast.
We can say fuck.
With Matthew Gertz and Jesse Landers.
I don't care, I've been smoking, this is cool.
That's a decent amount of sausage.
This man needs a doctor!
Yeah, I just hope they're tasty.
What's up with these clowns, man?
Cut the lights and went through people's pockets.
Don't you point that at each other.
Let them smoke a little. You need to step it up to that point. We're not gonna lead with the.
We're not gonna lead with that.
What you drinking? What you smoking? We got buds and brews, beers and blunts, dabs and drafts, pints and joints, bowls and bubbly. We're getting higher than student loan interest and drunker than Mr. Leahy. What are you drinking, Matt? Tell us, please. The people want to know.
I've got a list, because I got a sampler that I crafted myself. And I'm going to give you a couple of them, because there was a bunch of losers, and we're going to... That's the privilege of us trying these out.
Oh, yeah.
Is you get to avoid the shitty ones, and I give you the good ones.
So
we're going to start out with Flying Dog's Doggy Style Pale Ale. And I've got to say, that's the winner of the night. It was a real subtle... It had a piney aftertaste.
Fight of the night.
Liked that. Really good. I really enjoyed this one. And another surprise one that I really enjoyed, one that you can easily get, is called Cold Snap by Sam Adams. Really
that
good.
One
It's
sounded
white
interesting.
Ale. Has some spices. It's a winter brew. I really fucking enjoyed that one too. And one more. I know I'm going greedy with this, but Captain Lawrence. This is a really cool New York brewery. And they got this Fresh Chester Pale Ale. And I've got to say, this is a robust ale. This is, good.
Oh, you
I had
like
another
that
beer
one.
tonight that was called a robust ale, and that was not. It was a shitty, complex flavoring, and it was just too much tango going on. And this one actually had a good palate. I really enjoyed it. You can start off with it. It's not one of those beers that you need to have a couple other beers to work your flavor tastings to.
Yeah, like some of the ones that you picked out there.
Yeah. So I've got to say, worthy of checking out. Fresh Chester Pale Ale, coming at you from New York.
Nice. And I got Mississippi Mud. It is a famous slow brewed black and tan. It's a mix of a porter and a pilsner, and it comes in the pint-sized cans. It's got a cool ass alligator on it, and the taste
look really cool.
The taste is not bad at all. And it's rare. I don't know. It's rare for me to see black and tans on the shelf. I feel like I haven't ventured into that section of the beer store too much.
Yeah,
but I really enjoy.
It's always
this.
I always I'm wary about black and tans. The only one I really can recall is Yingling Black and Tan.
Yeah,
and that's Yingling.
That
so
one, that's one that immediately
watery.
comes to mind for me too. But this one's pretty good. This is Mississippi Mud. Just look for the brown can with the crocodile on it.
Nice, I like it. And I couldn't think of a more appropriate way to start the show. Welcome to American Slacker Podcast, and as always, I'm Matt.
And I'm Jesse. And first off, we'd like to start off the show by thanking our Patreon supporters. First off, Dave Gunn. Big thank you to you. We appreciate the support, man.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. We love you.
Next, we got Kyle Knoll and Bradford from the Crime Roulette podcast. That's a podcast that covers true crime that you should go check out.
Awesome show and awesome guys. They'll keep you entertained. Thanks, guys.
And then we have Aaron W. of the Yes and I Am podcast. And that is a show where he interviews people doing impressions of celebrities. And it's really funny.
It's really, really good. Definitely check it out. And thanks, Aaron.
So now we got to give a little bit of love to the podcast community with our pod shout out pick. And the way this works, we have a pinned tweet with our latest episode on our Twitter account. Anyone who retweets that from a podcast is entered in our lottery, essentially. And from the tweets, Matt picks a number. So Matt, this week we have 20 retweets, which is a lot more than usual.
That's a lot of numbers to pick from, and I only get one. That's pretty rough. You know what? I'm going to go with lucky number 13.
13. Well, you know what's funny? 13 is the people who won last time. So,
Really?
So by default, it goes to the next one in line, which is the Hotspot Podcast. And the Hotspot Podcast is at the Hotspot Pod on Twitter. Their description says, join Myron and Cash every Wednesday as they discuss entertainment, music, and listeners' favorite life topics. Available on all streaming sites. So definitely go check them out. They have actually, I like their little cartoon logo on Twitter. It's pretty cool.
Hell yeah, check them out.
So congratulations to the Hotspot Podcast for winning our pod shout out of the week. You'll be on our next pinned tweet. And other podcasts, be sure to enter next week. Possibly win. So Matt, what do we got coming up in the show?
As always, we're going to start out with bizarre news, and it's among the most bizarre this week. We've got some good shit going on. Then, it's been long overdue, but it's time that we step into the green quarter.
Oh yeah.
And after that, we're going to talk a little bit about video games. There's a lot going on, especially we'll talk about the games with gold, what you should and shouldn't try. So stick around, and we'll get to that.
And with our weird news, we always like to start out with a little bit of weed news. And, you know, a big topic right now with cannabis in America is Jeff Sessions. Isn't it always, Matt?
Fucking Jeff Sessions.
This guy never seems to cease.
He never stops, and I feel like he's attacking my personal rights. I'm fucking offended. Every time I see a picture of this asshole
This little keyboard
on the
elf.
newsfeed.
Well, you may want to get at him, and so does Senator Cory Gardner of Colorado, who plans to discuss Attorney General Jeff Sessions' decision to rescind a policy allowing the legalized recreational use of marijuana in some states during a meeting on Wednesday. So he's taken Sessions to the flagpole after school. They're gonna brawl.
They're gonna figure this out.
Now,
Sessions is gonna get hung at half mast by his whitey tighties.
I guess.
Is that what you're telling me?
I guess that's what might go down because I guess the leverage that Cory Gardner of Colorado has over Sessions. You know, well, first off, Colorado, legalized state. They're making a lot of revenue off of this. They have a lot of businesses that probably donate to politicians, and they could have a lot of backing if their politicians actually do what the constituents want, which in this case with Cory Gardner, he's backing them. You know, he's trying to give support to the businesses and people in his state by going against Jeff Sessions in this. And the little bit of leverage that he has, there's Department of Justice nominees that are up for vote, I guess. And Gardner says that he's going to reverse it. If the decision's not reversed, he will allow his threats that he made last week to hold up in the confirmation process of the Department of Justice nominees. And the whole memorandum that is like causing all of this ruckus is called the Cole Memo, and it was established during the Obama era. And it said that federal agents shouldn't be prosecuting states for legalized marijuana businesses. And it's basically saying it should leave it up to states.
Yeah, so the federal government should stay out of like the states that have legalized.
Yep.
You know, it's the California issue that was going on for a decade.
Yep. And now Jeff Sessions has rescinded that, or said he's rescinding it. And that's why Cory Gardner here is trying to take him to the flagpole and see if he can stand up for states' rights in terms of marijuana legalization. So
That's good.
I hope that Jeff Sessions ends up, as you said, half-mast at his whitey tighties over this weed thing, because it seems like he's the only person in the country who doesn't want to earn money off of cannabis and have people not be in jail.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's the only one, and I think he just got an aid to the fight. Because Mike Tyson has cashed in on marijuana, and he's getting ready to open up a 40-acre marijuana farm.
40 acres, damn.
Yeah, 40 acres, and it's amazing because he's already got a plan destined out. About 20 acres of the land will be used to create high quality strains of THC and CBD, so it's medical and recreational. It'll also feature a hydro feed plant and supply store, an extraction facility, an edible factory, premium glamping campgrounds and cabins, an amphitheater for performances, and last but definitely not least, the Tyson Cultivation School to teach new growers.
Jeez, he's going all in on the cannabis industry.
Mike Tyson, former heavyweight champion in the boxing world, he wasn't going to go in half-ass. So he decided to go and create the biggest complex there is. Dude, this is fucking amazing. It's totally right. I mean, Tyson caught some shit. He tested positive for marijuana in 2000 when it was definitely a bigger thing. So I mean, he's always
18 years ago now.
Yeah, he's always been down with the cause.
Well, and where is that? That's in California?
Yeah, California City, California.
Which, hold up. California City, California? Most unoriginal name.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, come on. Really?
You can call it anything,
Anything at that point, yeah. Yeah, it's apparently 40 miles out of Death Valley.
Oh, okay. So it's down south there. That's gonna be a nice little area. Go glamping. Buy some edibles, I guess, from Mike Tyson.
Hey, maybe you want to learn how to grow. Why not learn to grow from fucking Iron Mike?
Take a class. I wonder, he's got little, edible cooking classes going on and shit.
Dude, he's teaching you how to do anything and everything.
Well, be careful in California if you're visiting his ranch and you're making, campfires and stuff. It's really dry out here. A lot of fires get started very, very easily. And in Redding, California, a burning spider caused an apartment fire.
How did the spider burn up an apartment?
He's using crack cocaine, and
the spider's on crack. Spiders on crack, man. That's the worst kind of spider. You never know what he's gonna do.
Spiders. He's
unpredictable.
Using that torch. No, the people in the apartment saw a large wolf spider creeping around, and they thought, good idea. Let me burn this sucker. So he pulls out a butane lighter, one of those torch type lighters. And he sets this little thing on fire. The spider takes off across the room, goes under a mattress, which then sets the mattress on fire.
I don't know if I believe that a spider was on fire, ran far enough to catch a mattress on fire. I feel like it was a lot dumber than this is.
I could easily see that. Anything small that gets set on fire, it's just gonna scurry. It's gonna go. It's gonna be freaking the fuck out. So
I don't know.
It said it.
Go on.
They said it went under the mattress, which quickly spread. Caught on fire, quickly spread to the flag collection, and then the drapes in the bedroom, which was right next to the gasoline collection, and near.
Of course.
And right near those oily rag collections.
Oh God! And then it was just. Man, it was next to the highly combustible other liquids that they had.
It was all those oxygen tanks and a couple of barrels of kerosene. So no, but it spread from a flag collection to the drapes in the bedroom. The residents tried to put the fire out with a garden hose, but were unsuccessful, which, good on them. That was a smart move, try and grab the garden hose.
Good try. Nice try.
Maybe don't set the spider on fire in the first place, but I guess the fire caused $11,000 in damage, and they can't live there anymore because of the damage that was done to it. None of the other apartments were damaged, just theirs from this small spider fuego incident. So meanwhile, not so bad of a ending for them. They wanted to move out anyway. This kind of just jump started the process for them. Not the best way to get out of your apartment, but I guess it's kind of cool. You get to set spider on fire.
Kind of cool. You just burn down the apartment for everybody else that has to live in that fucking place.
Yeah, no, the rest of the apartments were fine in this case, but it could have gone really badly.
They needed the help of somebody spectacular. Maybe even a superhero.
Which one you thinking?
Not just any superhero. I would have called in Batman, but if you called him in, you might have gotten his answer machine because he might have been a little busy. Because apparently, Bruce Wayne has been busy for the last 428 consecutive goddamn days.
What's he got going on?
Let me tell you what Bruce Wayne's been up to. He's been going to Chipotle, and he's been eating there every goddamn day since October 30th, 2016.
Damn. So you get a burrito. It's probably what, $11 or $8 or $9.
Well, yeah, Chipotle, yeah. Apparently he was
every
cheaping
day.
out. It says, the story that I've read, it says he's been eating Chipotle's burritos, which are going for around $3. I don't know if that was some kind of
Like
specialty deal around.
Little tiny
This
burrito.
was October 30th, so I'm wondering if that was like maybe a Halloween special on a burrito.
Okay.
You
That,
know?
I mean,
but
you can't
he's
do
probably
that
going for a burrito.
year-round.
How could you do Chipotle? I love Chipotle. I don't know about you. I don't know if they're even out there on the West Coast.
Yeah,
but I love Chipotle.
they have
we
a
get
couple.
it once a week at least.
I get it probably once a week too. Actually, I hate myself
Yeah.
every time I do. Actually, I switched from the red salsa to just like the tomatoes and stuff,
Okay.
and I feel a
Yeah,
lot better.
I go reckless. I don't care. I go for the full red.
I just like my stomach
Um,
screams at me if I do
I
the
never
red
have these
sauce.
issues that everybody's like Chipotle away and shit. I'm like, I never have stomach issues because of Chipotle. I
It's-
don't get it. Maybe I've got an iron stomach.
Yeah, I guess so.
Fucking, I love Chipotle. This guy loves Chipotle more than me. Obviously, we're not talking about the real Batman. This is Bruce Wayne. This is his real name, actually.
Hell of a
he
name.
is a citizen out of Tiffin, Ohio. And in his hometown, he struck this record, which he looked into. And he saw that nobody had reached, anywhere near this time. So he was gold to set it. And he did it. And now he's the official Chipotle ambassador,
Oh damn,
Bruce Wayne.
got a sponsorship just from eating there.
Yeah, man, who would have known? Just eat there every fucking day, spend a fortune. What the fuck would it cost to eat at Chipotle? 428.
That's what I was
days
thinking.
in a
Times
row.
like 9, I would say, or times 10, even. Just like even it out, make it $10. Add
You
a-
get the
add a
kids meal.
zero.
That's $7. I like the kids meal every now and again. You get
Okay,
a couple tacos. You make them however you want.
So it'd be 7 times what? 400 and something.
428. Yeah. So we're talking. Let's round it and say 7 times 500.
Okay, that'd be like $3,500.
Yeah, dude. Exactly.
That's a decent chunk of change over the
It's a deep-
course of
yeah.
like a little more than a year.
You could have 3 years of burritos if you made that at home, bro.
Oh, now I've been eating a lot of Thai food recently.
I like Thai food.
Thai
food's
food's
good.
not
It's
bad at
spicy.
all. Oh yeah,
Spicy, man.
and it's like fresh too. I feel like there's like a lot of like cucumber and mint and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's stuff that you can't let expire. You'll know clearly.
Yeah, and speaking of Thailand, we have some interesting news out of Thailand, where politicians are, well, this specific politician has decided to replace himself with a cardboard cutout to answer questions for the media.
Ah, this motherfucker.
Now, no one let Donald Trump see this.
Nobody let him see this.
Don't let,
This is-
if he knows this is an option,
He'll be golfing every day.
we'll
all
never
year.
see him again. We don't get political on this show, but I thought that immediately. I was like,
He'll be on Twitter twice as much.
He cannot
will
see
be
this
watching
shit.
TV for 16 hours instead of the 8 hours he normally watches. per day.
He already doesn't like the journalists and stuff, so he's gonna put a cardboard cutout in the minute he knows it's an option. Now this happened in Thailand. It was a prime minister. Here we go. This is where the buzzer's gonna happen. Prayuth Chan-ocha. Yeah, that wasn't too
Ooh.
bad.
Not too bad.
Prayuth Chan-ocha briefly spoke with an audience outside a government house in Bangkok. And he decided at one point to say, if you want to ask anything on politics or conflict, ask this guy, pointing to a cutout of him, a cardboard cutout life size of himself.
Aha.
He then walked away waving at the journalists and throwing a rock symbol in the air as he strode out. People then started taking selfies with the cutout, and it's something that I guess he does now. You know, people are really familiar with him doing this to the point where they take selfies with him. Or, well, with the
Okay.
cutout, not him, because he's not around.
Yeah.
He's replacing
Yeah,
himself
he's
with the
nowhere to be
cutout.
found.
He said that he had like a small handpicked audience of people that he does talk to, but he doesn't like deal with these larger crowds. That's why he's throwing these cardboard cutouts up there and walking away.
It's fucking ridiculous.
I didn't know that was an option.
It's like some 80s movie scheme.
Just like put sunglasses on it. Yeah, so I'm glad we haven't gotten to that point over here.
In keeping up with Thai news, you'll be glad we didn't get like the next story over here as well, because there was an incident at a Thai airport recently where a New York man decided to get naked and start terrorizing the airport by destroying displays in all the little goods stores and throwing his old fecal matter at all the people hanging out at this airport.
Wow.
Yeah, and apparently the reason this all occurred, it all came out when the man came to, after he apparently blacked out from taking way too many sexual enticing pills, aka Viagra.
He's ODing on Viagra and causing a shitstorm?
Apparently, yeah, he's saying that he took too many, I'm imagining he took like some of those bodega Viagras, like fucking Black Rhino, Triple XL.
Oh, okay.
Fucking, the shit
Over
like
the
that's
counters?
just full of God knows what. It's got steroids, it's got ecstasy, it's got
Rhino
everything.
horn.
Jesus, yeah, grind up. Yeah, man, apparently he's blaming it all on that.
Why are you taking that at an airport?
I don't know why he took that before a flight. I
Mile
just
High
don't
Club.
understand. Yeah, maybe he was hoping to get lucky.
I guess.
Break the fucking barriers there.
I mean, I've heard of people having a shitty time at the airport because they lost their bags and stuff, but this is like a totally different type of shitty time at the airport.
This is a really shitty time. Yeah, like you could take too much weed or something before the airport. You're getting on an airline or whatever. This is a whole new fucking scheme. And he was heading to South Korea, and then his fucking flight his whole trip got canceled, unfortunately, because he had to explain what the fuck happened here to the authorities.
Like, look, I have a boner, that's why I got naked and started throwing shit everywhere.
He's like,
This is
"Listen, man, I've had a
easily
boner for
explained away.
16 hours straight.
Yeah,
I
like,
should call a doctor."
who takes Viagra before they get on like a long ass flight? It just doesn't
That's why
sound
I'm
like
saying it's
Yeah,
got to
like,
be those bodega ones, because those are a cover up for like they used to be anyway, for like they would get you like some back ass ecstasy. Like
Okay.
they weren't for sex, they were for like mood changing.
Oh, okay. Some over the
So, I'm
counter
a-
weird drugs.
Yeah, I'm imagining. Yeah, he was trying to find a high versus trying to get laid.
I mean,
And
yeah, but like when you're buying that shit, you never know really what it is. So you're taking that risk that you might be the weird dude with the boner sitting next to someone on a flight.
dude, right, dude? Come on, why? You
It's
can't
like-
fucking go to your doctor and get some like normal calming medication.
Yeah, just chill the fuck
It's
out.
not that hard.
I know.
not
Well,
that hard.
traveling's stressful. What can you say?
It is stressful. It's never been stressful enough for me to pop fucking 6 Black Rhinos, but
You've never been stressed enough at an airport to get naked and throw your own shit?
nah, unfortunately.
Fortunately for you, and fortunately for the TSA, you haven't gotten to that point.
Nah, unfortunately. But I am going to California in February, so I mean, hey,
Anything
there's
could
always a
happen.
chance.
Just like the woman in our next story who wants to marry her Tetris cartridge after her relationship with her calculator, Pierre, broke down in shambles.
He wasn't crunching the numbers right for her. I mean, what was going on?
Well, we'll get to that. I
Where's
guess.
Pierre now? That's why I'm more worried about Pierre than the lady.
Well,
now.
I'll
'Cause obviously she moved on way too fucking quick.
we'll find out the fate of Pierre. Let's not jump ahead. This woman who prefers to go by Fractal Tetris Huracan wants to marry a Tetris cartridge who she's been in a relationship with since September of 2016. And she now spends 12 hours a day playing it on websites on her phone and on her Game Boy, which is convenient because, like, if you need your significant other, just you log on right there, bam,
True.
you got it. So I guess
True. It's kind of weird because she doesn't want to put the abuse on the physical being. right?
No, I guess it's almost like a consciousness that moves between. That's like, oh, it's there, it's there, it's there. It's like a McDonald's. Like they're all over the place.
Okay.
So it's like you're going to McDonald's. You're in McDonald's, but there's McDonald's everywhere.
But what about like if she's like at a game store and somebody buys like a used copy of Tetris in front of her? It's like, you cheating whore!
I guess so. I didn't think about that. Maybe she lets
I
other
don't know.
people.
Maybe
play
it's
with
that
it.
individual cartridge. Like maybe that's the one she's had like since the like childhood, and like she's grown with this cartridge.
Yep.
That cartridge has seen her through the best and the worst.
But
I don't know.
she's had relationships with other types of machines before, as we mentioned, the calculator Pierre, which she was in a relationship with for a while, but then shorted out as she was cleaning it. So that sent her into
She
a
murdered
tailspin.
Pierre. She murdered Pierre, but Tetris was always the guy that was around to take care of the backfall.
Yeah.
He might be accomplice,
He
as far as
could.
I'm concerned.
He
There's
could.
a deeper story here.
Yeah, this
Pierre,
is like a soap opera.
Pierre, man. Pierre's gone. I'm willing to bet you will not be able to find out where Pierre's being is at this point.
He's been
gone.
thrown in the trash and recycled.
He's
or
in a
recycled.
landfill. God.
She's always had an attraction towards technological devices. She's had feelings for monorails, iPods, treadmills, from 5th grade around age 10 onward, and she had the first time real feelings towards a Garmin GPS. So she's really like down with technology, like more so than we
Hey,
are.
I'll say monorails are pretty fucking legit. I've been on them. I can vouch for them. I've been on them with you.
Yeah, we've
We
been
went
on
a monorail
monorails.
together actually once.
I have some
Yeah,
strong
so-
feelings towards monorails, not sexually, but
No, but I mean, it's a hell of a rail, you know?
So yeah, this is probably one of the more odd relationships that I've seen. She's also been with an oscilloscope named Braxton, and the companion cube from the video game Portal.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's something you can do these days. Go marry your Tetris cartridge.
Well, it's not for everybody.
Technology's amazing.
Yeah, to each their own.
Life finds
Technology
a way.
is amazing. Life finds a way. And in case you're an Oregonian and you're dealing with this crisis of having to pump your own gasoline, God, you could blow up like a ticking time bomb. Well, we've got the solution for you, and it comes via Pixo VR. Now, Pixo is a virtual reality company that specializes in doing things such as training tutorials for hazardous companies, such as like construction workers, or say you work at like a nuclear power plant, and you got to deal with a meltdown. Crazy things that you need special training for. Well, this could put you in scenarios that you couldn't have any other better way to prepare for. Well, now they've come up with a solution for everybody that's worried about pumping their own gas, and they've made an application to help you train to pump your own gasoline into your automobile.
It's like you're a real life firefighter.
Hell yeah. It doesn't get more exhilarating than this. And if you're a constant gamer, I mean, this is right up your alley.
Yeah, it comes from the same people who made Tax Filer 3 and
Hell yeah.
Night Janitor 4, actually.
Exactly.
And the
yeah.
and the DLC Night Watchman, the rewatching.
Yes.
So when you
Fuck
got to
yes.
watch the tapes
Exactly.
of the dude who was there the night before because they think he did something shady, but he's just sitting there the whole night.
He's just a normal guy. Yeah, he's just boring as fuck.
Yep.
He's vanilla. Well, if this is up your alley, I mean, this application of VR can help you avoid spillage so that you don't fuck up there.
I do that all the time. I always get gas on the outside of the car. You spray the outside a couple times by accident before you put it in. Like, oh, what did I do?
Oh my! I'm not gonna lie. I have sprayed myself with gasoline a few times.
Oh, no.
It's not pleasant. I'm not gonna lie. I'm out there.
Well, people forget that your gas tank is pressurized, and that it's
Yep.
there's the gases and the vapors too in there. So you
Exactly.
gotta burp it a little bit.
Yeah, that's why your check engine light will come on sometimes in certain models if you don't click it all the way.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It'll also help you with supervising children inside of the car and pumping your own gas at the same time.
So when they're smacking
And-
each other.
Yeah, it'll tell you how to tell them to shut up.
The louder you yell, the more calm they stay.
Yeah, it'll give you vocal prompts to, really get your vocab.
Scream at your children. Watch the pump. Look at the price.
Don't
go over how much you have in your wallet.
It'll tell you how to gouge into their souls and really get them to shut the fuck up. And last but not least, it'll teach you using the pump to ward off attackers who may accost you while you pump your own gas. I swear to God, this is one of the things on the fucking site.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so it teaches you a whole shit ton of things that you might need to know. I'm jealous because I was never taught how to use the pump to ward off attackers. So I'm vulnerable as shit as a gas pump.
I feel like Jackie Chan would pull that off nicely, fighting at a gas station using the pumps as fucking weapons.
I'm just imagining it as an asshole that holds the pump and has a zip on the other hand and is make your fucking move, asshole.
I'd be flailing that thing like a flail.
Oh my God. Using
it
as a blunt object?
Yeah, oh yeah, you're swinging it around, that heavy end of it with the handle.
I guess that depends on how much hose they give you. If they give you a good length of hose, then you're good with that.
You only need as much as it takes for them to get to you.
Get to you. True. Yeah, it's probably more than your arm length.
Yeah.
Well, everybody in Oregon, I would really, I think this is for you. Check out Pixo VR gas pump training.
And do the finisher move.
Do the finisher. Fatality.
Oh, man, that's great. So, speaking of fighting people, our funny clip has a man fighting what we can only imagine would be a ghost.
I can't help but side with one of the comments. It looks like Stuart from Mad TV, except maybe Stuart had found drugs.
We've all pulled up and seen some sketchy characters, but have you ever pulled up and seen a sketchy character with the physique of Mike Tyson? No.
Fuck no.
No, this man is
the
clearly out of his
Stuart
mind.
from Mad TV.
But he does look a lot like Stuart from Mad TV. It's the haircut.
Yeah, it really is. He's got a massive bowl cut going on.
So these guys pull up to this dude who's fighting nothing, and he's doing a pretty good job at it. I have to give it to him. To the point.
I guess if you could say, he is doing a pretty good job at fighting in the air.
Yeah, he's doing a really great job at fighting nothing.
But I will say that these guys commentating deserve a job at Bellator at the least.
Sit down next to Joe Rogan at fucking right outside the octagon.
Yeah.
They narrate as they pull up to him, and it's perfectly timed because he ends up putting his hands up like he's the damn champion of the world. And they give him a round of applause. If they weren't in a car, it would be a standing ovation. This is a perfectly coordinated slice of life, a little piece of Americana for everyone to share.
Yeah, it's golden.
So that's our funny clip of the week. We're going to post that up on Wednesday. I forgot to mention before, on Monday, we will put the Weed News article up on our Facebook. On Wednesday, you will find this champion ghost fighter perusing our Facebook page.
Hell yeah. Perfect timing, because we're getting ready to go into the green corner. But before we do that, let's have a word from a fellow podcaster.
Hi, I'm Mike from the Genuine Chit Chat podcast, where we have honest conversations with interesting people. I speak to a wide variety of guests, from travellers to musicians to those afflicted with mental or physical illnesses. There's really no subject that's off limits, from movies to politics and even controversial topics ranging from sex to drug reform and political correctness. So if you still believe in the art of conversation, are intrigued by healthy debates with different ideas and perspectives you may not have thought of, and want a podcast where every episode is about something different with a variety of guests, then this may be the podcast for you. You can hear us on YouTube and all your favourite podcast apps, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. So if you want to hang out and listen to honest conversations with interesting people, then come to Genuine Chit Chat, where I'm your host, Mike Burton.
And now, let's get to the fucking green corner.
Fight!
There's been a lot of crazy shit going on in the UFC lately, and I have been very entertained as a fan. I don't know where to start, honestly. First off, let me just say I picked up the UFC Fight Pass, and I cannot talk about this enough. I've been going on to Jesse about it over and over and over again since I've subscribed.
And in turn, I now have access to the
yes,
UFC
exactly.
Fight Pass.
You didn't hear it here, but you might be able to share it with a friend. Blah, 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 blah. Now, the UFC Fight Pass, if you're not aware, it allows you access to an archive of all the fights that have ever occurred in the UFC. They also have Invicta, they have Pride, they have Glory Kickboxing, Cage Warriors, Strike Force, and they also have the Eddie Bravo Invitationals, the Jiu-Jitsu matches, which are really cool. So you really have access to a shit ton of media, and I mean, UFC's been going on for 25 years. We're coming up on the 25th anniversary of the UFC right now, and 2018 is a big year for the UFC because of that. I would honestly recommend anybody checking it out, at least for a month or two. You can get caught up on every fight ever in history with the UFC Fight Pass. It's only $10 a month. If you're a serious fight fan like I am, you can commit and get it cheaper, down to like $6.99 a month. If you commit to like a 6-month or a 12-month deal.
Oh, okay.
But fucking well worth it, I'll tell you what. Apparently the pay-per-views don't come on until, a couple weeks after, which is fine. I understand you're trying to make money off that. But I really enjoy being able to go through the archive and see these fighters develop. Like the other night, I spent hours just watching Francis Ngannou's fights from the beginning to the end, like, of his career. And, Stipe and DC, like all the fighters we're going to talk about, I just went through their archives and it was so easy to just see every fight they've ever been in.
That's awesome. That they make
it's
that
a beautiful
accessible.
thing. Yeah, it's fucking beautiful. Check out the UFC Fight Pass. I can't go on about it enough. UFC 219 was insane. Let's talk about that. Cyborg defeated Holm. It went all the way and it came to a decision. It was a great match. Holm did not look good after it. Holly had suffered quite the amount of damage to her face, and Cyborg cemented herself as the best pound-for-pound fighter in the women's division, or in women's fighting in general, rather. And now it's actually drawn into an issue where she doesn't have any competitors. There's not even any. You know what I found out? There's not even any UFC featherweight rankings for the women's division. If you go to the website, it says not available because they don't really have a division. It's kind of shitty.
That's odd.
Right now, yeah, it's kind of odd. They're working towards getting her to fight Amanda Nunes in a champion versus champion match, but we'll see. Cyborg wants to get the UFC to cement an actual division for the featherweights. Get more competitors that can actually face her,
right? Versus
putting her in another division to fight somebody else that's a weight down.
I was gonna say that's always a pain for the fighters, like having to jump weight classes like that.
Yeah, and obviously we've talked about it before, but Cyborg's been at the worst of weight cutting.
She had that documentary where it really showed.
Yeah, we've talked about that a few times. Yeah, it's crazy the weight cuts they put these fighters through, and it's gonna be interesting to see if she fights Nunes because that's the only calling that she has because she's ran through everybody else. They could, they put Holm up a fucking weight class to fight her. She wasn't a featherweight. That's the thing, is like she's going up to fight Cyborg, who's like a fucking beast, the biggest woman competitor in MMA today.
Yep.
But we'll see where that goes. Well, the co-main event of that night was another amazing fight. Khabib Nurmagomedov, he defeated Edson Barboza. He outclassed him completely. Another fight that went to decision, and it was insane. Khabib made Barboza look like an amateur fighter, and that's insane because Barboza is one of the best competitors there is in the lightweight division. And it just sucks because this division is so stacked right now, and Conor is sitting there with a title, holding it hostage. Like I've talked to you many times before.
In the McGregor compound.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. Ever since he won that title, and I think we're about a year and a half ago now. I think he won it in like December, maybe November of last year. It's getting crazy, and not like last year, the year before last, I should say.
Yep.
So people don't get confused. It's getting kind of ridiculous, he took the boxing match, that's okay, but now he wants to wait till fall from all the talk that I've heard, and Dana White's saying that's not going to happen. That'll be 2 years that you've held the title and you haven't defended it once.
So it would just go up to between the two top guys of that weight class.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically what we're working towards now is that the interim title might become the real title, and Tony Ferguson might become the real champion, and he might fight Khabib. That might be the real title fight coming up in the next few pay-per-views. Which, I mean, it makes sense, you know. Fucking Conor wants to just hold hostage. He made, you know, 100 million plus off that fight with fucking Floyd. There's no reason for him to really come back and take the abuse.
Yeah, and
you know,
he took that time off. Like, they're giving him shit about how long he's had a fight with Mayweather. That, like, took up pretty much all of last year, it seemed like. Summer, that was in, like, August.
yeah. Yeah, it did, you know, but it's been you know, I mean, I was in California with you when that happened, and that was how long ago? You know, that was... Yeah, so, I mean, we're talking in fights, man, he's ready to fight again, clearly, you know. So, the thing is, you can't hold up the division like that. There's, without a doubt, the UFC's lightweight division is probably... It probably has the highest caliber of athletes out of any division there is right now. So that's the real shitty thing about it. I think that this needs to happen ASAP. You know, Conor needs to start thinking about his plan, or they need to fucking vacate that title and give it to Ferguson, or, you know, like, whatever they're gonna do with it. Obviously, Ferguson's the interim champion, so he'll probably get the belt. But I think Khabib has proven himself. And let me just stop myself before. If you're not familiar with Khabib Nurmagomedov, I always fucking butcher his name. Give me a buzzer right there. I always butcher it. If you're not familiar with Khabib, I want you to go on YouTube. I want you to look up 6-year-old Khabib fighting a bear, okay? And I want you to see what he was raised like. Khabib was raised in Russia. His dad was a very stern man that raised him, and apparently in the area that they grew up in, Kazakhstan, or I think that's what it's called, you either have one or two paths. You go down an athletic path, or you go down like a kind of criminal path. So his dad was very stern to keep him down the athletic path out of trouble. So if McGregor so Khabib's been trained since he was a very young child in very, very rough conditions. And honestly, I mean, it's like taking coal and crafting a diamond. That's what I feel like is going on here. And I feel like Khabib's going to be the champion no matter what it takes. If Conor comes back and defends against Tony, whatever it takes, I think Khabib's going to come into the picture and take that title from either guy. I really think he has it. One of the next things I want to talk about, John McCarthy, a common referee, Big John McCarthy, that you will see in the UFC and Bellator, has now been signed as a color commentator at Bellator. I thought that was quite interesting. Big John, he has his own podcast. He's always been involved in fighting. He has his own martial arts school. His podcast, Let's Get It On, check it out. You can find that out there. It's been around for a few years now. I think it's a great idea. You know, it's kind of a bittersweet thing. They got rid of Jimmy Smith, who I have a feeling you'll be seeing in the UFC next to Joe Rogan very soon. I think Joe Rogan had him on the podcast, and he was saying that it was a very bad move, and they were kind of being elusive about where Jimmy's going to go. And I have a very good feeling that Jimmy's going to end up in the UFC because he's a very talented commentator. He knows how to break down fights. He's intelligent, and he'll keep you entertained, which is a lot of people don't realize. You know, the commentators have just as much of a part in keeping the fight going as the fighters themselves. You know, like, that's why Joe Rogan is so successful, is he keeps it going. He adds knowledge to the fight. He's entertaining vocally, and he just makes sure to keep it going. You know, there's never a stale moment. He knows to steer how to do that. And I think that's a big thing. You know, you just can't create a guy. And you see that a lot in the MMA world, where they're just trying to stick ex-fighters in the commentator world. Which it makes sense. They've been there. They've stomped the ground. You know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. A commentator is a very different ground. You got to have the knowledge. Not even the knowledge. You got to have the ability to talk to crowds and still be entertaining. You know, one thing I like to compare it to is like Dominic Cruz versus Daniel Cormier. They're two different guys, both fighters that have come to commentating. But Dominic Cruz, for some reason, just seems so mono to me. And DC is so entertaining. He adds his personality to the commentating, which I think makes the difference. And I think John McCarthy is going to bring his personality that people don't normally get to see, you know, when they see him as an official in the octagon. Another thing about John McCarthy, a lot of people don't know, he was an LAPD officer. Okay. And he was an instructor. He had a lot to do with, I think, like SWAT development and shit like that. Yeah, he's a really He's been all over this guy.
I'd be adding another thing to his roster. He's going to be playing as a commentator.
Yeah, man. And I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see how he works out at Bellator. I do enjoy Bellator. A lot of the fighters from the UFC end up going there. And before we leave the green corner, one thing I wanted to touch on, UFC 220. It's gonna be insane. I can't say that I've been more hyped for a main event.
I'm looking forward to this one. We're actually thinking about paying for it.
Yeah, I think
splitting that.
We're trying to figure out the logistics of it, if we can watch it, simultaneously at the same time and on Xbox and all that shit.
Might have to just Google Hangouts me and point a phone at the screen.
Yeah, right. Some ghetto.
Send you $30.
Yeah. So UFC 220, the two main events have got me just captivated. They're the two fights that I think I've been looking forward to in the past couple of years. First off, we got DC versus Volkan Ozdemir. Volkan has just sprung onto the UFC scene in the last year. Okay, he hasn't been around. It's insane, and now he's fighting DC.
I didn't recognize that name.
Yeah, you wouldn't, because he just started with the UFC in February of this last year, and now he's fighting for the light heavyweight title. Volkan is an amazing competitor who, if you watch all of his fights in the UFC, he puts people to sleep with punches that look like he's just barely touching guys. So it's either like he's rigging the fights, or he's just got some creepy, strong power in very tight corners.
Maybe it's like one of those like one-touch monk hits.
Where
it's like,
1-inch punch.
Yeah, exactly, the 1-inch punch.
Fucking craziness, man. It's crazy to see, and I always love when the newcomer comes and shakes up the ground. Volkan, unfortunately, has added himself into a little bit of legal issues in the last few months. He got into a bar brawl with some guy, and apparently it was all like self-defense, but he's still sorting this out, and he had to surrender his passport, which is pretty shitty.
It's weird how often MMA and UFC competitors end up getting in fights that are self-defense.
Yeah. Well,
it seems very common.
It's common, but here's the thing that's unfortunate. As soon as any of the prosecutors realize that you're a professional fighter, you're fucked. And I saw it in this one because I watched all of his court videos, which are accessible all over YouTube. The prosecutors were like, he's an MMA fighter, a professional fighter. We don't think he should have bail at all or bond. They were just trying to hammer the fucking guy right away because he got into a physical altercation and he had, fighting.
Well, I guess they're trying to expect him to have more restraint since
true.
He was trained.
Well, he got lucky, and a judge is kind of on his side. She was like, "There's no reason for this to not have bond. This is insane." Right. He was held overnight. He was held way too long for some stupid shit. Huh. And honestly, I've heard this before. It's a common theme. If a guy realizes he's altercating with a fighter, he's a little more edged up, he's got something to prove. It happens a lot as a fighter. I've heard stories of Rampage Jackson and fucking Chuck Liddell in bars, and the person knows who they are, but they still want to start shit because they want to fucking one up a professional fighter.
Yeah, what do you think? You're gonna take on an MMA fighter in a bar, and that's gonna be your lifetime achievement? Maybe
drinking muscles. I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's gonna be a great way to find a bottle down your fucking throat.
Yeah, and
that's terrible.
Watching any of Ozdemir's fights, I'm sure the guy, whoever was dumb enough, Kevin Cohan, that's the name. Wait, what? No, they did give up the name. I felt bad for the guy. He learned the hard way. You don't fuck with a guy. You can push a guy a certain amount. And if he happens to be a UFC fighter that's probably going to be the next UFC light heavyweight champion, you're probably going to get fucked up.
Yeah, don't mess with him.
Don't mess with him.
So that'll be interesting. Cormier versus Ozdemir.
Ozdemir, knockout power versus DC, a guy he's a former heavyweight champion who fights at light heavyweight now, so he has no problem throwing away big guys. Well, it's going to be interesting to see. I can't wait for this match. But the match that I am beyond excited for, Stipe Miocic, our firefighting hero, has a challenger, and I'm fucking worried. Francis Ngannou seems to be like a villain out of a fucking Rocky movie.
Oh, he's not a villain. I like him. I think he's like a rising comet out of Africa.
He's a very good guy. I'm a big fan of Francis. I should tell you that first. But I mean, the way this guy is living at the UFC Performance Institute, they're bringing the best of science and strategy to this guy. Like, it's insane. They got him hooked up to machines. They got him training in the most technical ways possible. He was there every day, like every day of the week for 8 months straight. He's heading back to Paris for the last stretch of his training right now. This guy is insane. He's like a combination of fucking Alistair Overeem, Brock Lesnar, and fucking, I don't know, another fucking greatest technical striker. I don't know. This guy has been in the game for a few years. He didn't decide to start fighting professionally until 2013. That's when he started training. Okay? We're talking about a guy that's been in the business less than 5 years, and he's about to go on and fight the heavyweight champion of the UFC. The baddest dude on the fucking planet, as dubbed. And I think rightfully so.
And you also mentioned that he started out homeless, right?
So Francis Ngannou, like, let me give you a breakdown of this guy. I feel the need to. He was born in Cameroon, a very, very poor country in Africa. It's a French province. He moved to Paris right before he turned 20, and he was homeless for quite a bit, where he found luck because an MMA coach decided to take him in. Apparently Ngannou had an interest in becoming a boxer. He loved Mike Tyson. He wanted to do something big for that. You know, he wanted to make a name for himself and put Cameroon on the map.
Where is Cameroon on the map exactly?
So it's the neighboring country
to
the east of Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's Central Africa.
It's small, right? I'm
very
guessing,
small.
I
population of about 29 million. So it's not too small. It's a good population. It's a decent sized country that's under French influence. You know, they use the franc. They speak French.
Yeah, I was gonna say after his Alistair Overeem fight, he got the chance to thank his opponent Alistair, and he gave him a hug. That was the first thing he did when he got the mic, which I just thought was super fucking hella respectful.
Oh yeah, and you know that's one thing I overskipped about talking about Ozdemir. Volkan Ozdemir, he was roommates with Alistair. And Alistair took him under his wing, and that's half the reason why I think that guy is a fucking monster. A lot of people don't realize that is Volkan moved to the Netherlands and became roommates with Alistair Overeem and trained with him, and he learned a lot under his wing. A lot of people don't know that.
Back to Ngannou though, he laid Alistair out. Alistair opened up to him with like a left to the ear that was sloppy as fuck. Left himself open, and he just caught one that put him out for like a good minute.
Yeah, both Stipe and Francis have both defeated Alistair. The thing is, Francis defeated Alistair in a very freaky, quick way, and it was very powerful, just like the last few of his fights. It seemed like the first two fights in the UFC, he was very calculated and slow, and then after that, he found his spot, and everybody after that hasn't lasted past the first round with him.
I don't blame it. He's a beast.
He's a beast. The way he put Anthony Hamilton into Kimura by pure physical force, standing and then slammed him on the ground and yanked his arm behind his back. And I'm talking Anthony Hamilton is a big fucking man. He is like a 6 foot, like 6 fucking, probably walks around 260 pounds normally, like a big dude. And he just fucking cranked his arm like it was nothing. And it was like, ha 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 ha. Like, Francis Ngannou is a monster. Not to mention that he has broken the machine at the facility for the UFC, the Performance Institute. There's like this machine that mentions the highest punching power, okay? In units. And he's broken the record. First, it was broken by kickboxing champion Tyrone Spahn, and which was around 114,000 units, okay? I don't know what the measurements are. But he hit it at about 129,000 units, okay? Well, one thing I do know that these equivalent to is that apparently his punch Ngannou, apparently his punch is equivalent to 93 horsepower. And Dana White says it's about a Ford Escort hitting you full fucking speed.
Jeez.
That's the equivalent, yeah.
That's insane.
I think that's a little bit excessive, but still, regardless, this guy is obviously a big issue. Stipe, he's a former Golden Glove champion, wrestling background. I don't know how.
Another really good guy.
Fucking amazing. You know, and the thing is, if he beats him, he goes cemented as the best heavyweight champion of all time. He's tied right now for the most title defenses in the heavyweight division for 2, believe it or not. Because heavyweights don't last, man. They do not last. I don't know why. No. It doesn't happen. And
the hits are a lot
he's tied
harder.
with Brock Lesnar, Cain Velasquez, a few other guys.
Wow.
So this is either going to make or break him. And I know we won't see the end of Stipe even if he loses, but I'm worried for the guy. This is fucking insane. He's coming up against a challenger who is hungry,
It's going to be intense.
Who has been dedicated. And from what I saw, honestly, Stipe didn't change his fighting regime, his camp at all. So it's another thing that worries me.
Okay, I'm really interested to see how it turns out. I feel like Francis Ngannou is going to unfortunately wipe the floor with Stipe.
I think we're looking at the next big thing in the UFC heavyweight division. And, it sucks because I really like Stipe, but I don't see him surviving this.
We'll see. We'll see how it works out in UFC 220.
Oh, yeah. So, tune in. I know we will be. It's going to be the best event of the year, as far as I can see anyway.
So far.
Now, before we leave the Green Corner, we're going to touch on the celebrity beef of the month. Now, what I've chosen isn't exactly a beef, but I got a kick out of it. And so did Cody Garbrandt, as he was kicked in the mouth from Jean-Claude Van Damme as they were having a friendly goddamn sparring session.
Another Jean-Claude Van Damme issue.
Jean-Claude, you're just pissing off everybody, man. You pissed off the Green Ranger, now you're pissing off the former bantamweight champion of the fucking world.
Jean-Claude Van Goddamn.
Goddamn.
Cut it out, man.
You better cut it out, man. Well, apparently they were having a friendly sparring session, and they were, throwing a bunch of different fucking kicks and punches. And Van Damme just went a little too hard and fucking kicked Cody right in the mouth, right into the fucking teeth. And Cody flipped out right away. He was pretty pissed off from the event. Apparently, he calmed down after, and everybody was laughing. He had, his whole team in the cage with him as he was doing the sparring, including Uriah Faber, former UFC fighter.
Oh, wow.
And who's on Team Alpha Male. And
I can't believe he kicked him square in the fucking teeth, though. That's ridiculous.
I'm just sick of Van Damme running around flaunting himself like he's the best in the goddamn world. Somebody needs to knock him out.
It's time to pass the torch, Van Damme. That's what we have to say.
You're done, Van Damme. And
We're taking away your legs.
We're taking them away. We're cutting you at the knee. You're done.
Pop him in a wheelchair and never let him in a movie again.
Never. That's it.
You're starting too much shit with people.
You're fucking out of here. No more Street Fighter. Street Fighter 3, get out of here, you fuck.
So we'll keep you up to date on all of the celebrity beefs in the Green Corner throughout the month.
And for now, that's it. That's the Green Corner.
Now it's time to talk about some video games.
Oh, yeah.
Game over.
It's me, Mario.
Finish him.
First off, we want to start with our current obsession. And that'd be PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG, as we'll refer to it from now on. They've had some patches recently for the Xbox One and the Xbox One X for PUBG, and it's running a lot better now. Its graphics are a little bit better. Weapon damage to vehicles has been upgraded. You can, I guess, toggle music on and off, which I haven't quite figured out how to do yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, but I definitely have noticed the difference in the rendering and crashing issue has been pretty much solved.
There's way more detail, and the lighting is way better as well.
Yeah, it's definitely making the game a lot more enjoyable.
And that's the first big patch, really, right?
Well,
for the
yeah,
for
I would
this
say
game.
they had one other big patch that I think just rendered a few things, small changes with vehicles or this or that, really buttoning in the first patch. It's always haywire when these games release at first. There's always things.
Yeah, and there were a lot of glitches in the initial release, but it's
So many.
What do
preview.
they call it? A
preview.
Oh, there you go.
It's a game preview, and the best way to explain that, what a game preview is, at least on Xbox, I don't think PS4 has to deal with this bullshit. You get a game that's half built, so most likely you're going to be fighting a game to get it
You're
to
a
work
beta
properly.
tester.
Yeah, you're a beta tester. And, when the game rolls out, you get it, the full copy for the half price mark.
Yeah, and it's gotten better over time. There's been these improvements that they've been rolling out.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I think it's
I'm
worth
excited to see it because it's only going to get better.
It's only going to get better, and I think it's well worth it to deal with these small issues to pay half the price for the game that's going to be $60. And especially with PUB, it wasn't that bad. There was some crashes and shit, but the game was playable.
There were a lot of crashes.
A lot of crashes, but the game was still playable. It wasn't every game.
So make sure you go check out PUBG if you got $30 on you and an Xbox One or Xbox One X. But now, if you have a Xbox Gold membership, we got some games with Gold for January to tell you about.
Oh yeah.
The first one that we have available is The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 3, and this is for the Xbox One, and it's available for all of January, so from the 1st to the 30th. It's a top-down, sort of arcadey RPG, if you will. You can team up with other players and run through hordes of enemies and make your way on this map, and it's all from like that third-person overview.
Okay, so it's a hack 'em slash 'em over it.
Exactly. And you know what? It's like 12 gigs on the hard drive, so it takes up a little bit of space. If you have a couple of friends to play it with, I'd give it a shot. It got a 6 out of 10 on Steam and 6 out of 10 on GameSpot.
Okay, so
it's not really my style. I would say the next one is a lot closer to what I've enjoyed recently. And that would be Tomb Raider Underworld, which is actually an Xbox 360 game. The graphics aren't too bad. It's in line with what you imagine for Tomb Raider, not the most recent ones, but the past titles.
Yeah, that secondary series. I've heard a lot of fans were really into the storyline of this series of Tomb Raider, and they were disappointed that the series got rebooted into that new one, which I've got to say the new one has
I like the new one.
It is, but it's not Tomb Raider. I grew up on Tomb Raider. It was one of the first games that I had on PlayStation 1 that I really enjoyed, and I played every one of the series. There was a certain aspect, more puzzle solving. There was moments where you would just get stuck trying to figure out fucking certain environments, how to get past to the next section.
Right. That's what Underworld's a lot more like.
Exactly.
It's more like that classic style.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people appreciate that. I'm excited about this one. I'm downloading it, and I'm probably gonna play it all the way through just because I'm a Tomb Raider nerd.
Yeah, and make sure you grab it before the 15th, because it's only available for the first half of the month from the 1st until the 15th of January.
Very short time.
The next title that we have available is Army of Two, which we've actually had a chance to play these titles. They're a lot of fun.
They are a lot of fun. I do like Army of Two.
It's a third-person shooter type video game, and you can play with a friend. Clearly, it's called Army of Two. You can play the co-op and kind of help each other move through the story.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I liked it. It's cool plot. Good graphics.
Yeah, it's a mix of
playability's up there.
Yeah, it's a mix of shooting of Gears of War and maybe Tom Clancy game.
Right?
It's
or Resident Evil and
yeah.
Metal Gear Solid or something.
Yeah, it's a fun game for you and a buddy. 2 people. It's great.
Yeah. Definitely. The last one that's available for January is called Zombie. That's ZOMBI. It's for the Xbox One. It's available from the 16th of January until the 15th of February, actually. So this one's available for quite some time. And this is a first-person survival horror video game.
Okay, that sounds intriguing.
where you're, it originally, I think, released for the Wii U.
Oh, really?
Because
It's a shitty
there's a
system.
title called Zombie U, and then there's Zombie. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing Zombie is the title that Ubisoft made for Xbox and PlayStation.
Okay.
And it takes place in London. There's zombies coming after you. It's, I don't know if you can fight back or not. I didn't get a chance to look that deep
Just
into
like
it,
you're
but I
like-
am excited to give this one a try.
Just one of those survival games where you just gotta, like, get away. Try to live.
Yeah, like fucking, Outlast.
See, I gotta be able to fucking kill. I gotta be able to stab, shoot, like... I don't want a monster around me that's invincible. Get that out of here. Psh.
It's like, alright, go and find that key down there somewhere.
Yeah, and don't
We
get
have no weapons.
Don't get jumped by the boogeyman that's in the basement.
Shit's terrifying. And but that's it. So we got Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing available to the 31st, Tomb Raider, Underworld available to the 15th, Army of Two available to the 31st, and Zombie U available from the 16th to the 15th of February.
Oh,
Make sure
yeah.
to check those out.
Check them out. And once you're done checking them out, I think you should check out our plugs, because it's about the wrap of this show.
Oh, yeah.
And you can start out by checking out our Facebook page at American Slacker Podcast, where you can also find the American Slackers group, where you can chime in and have a conversation with all the other slackers out there. And there's all kinds of good shit going on in there. Don't forget to check out the Instagram, where you can find the promos for every show that we do and a bunch of other interesting images. And also the main hub, aspodcast.com or americanslackerpodcast.com, whichever you choose. You can keep in touch with us and see what we're up to.
You can also check us out on Twitter and Reddit at AMERSLKR Podcast. All of our episodes are uploaded to YouTube, where you can subscribe to us and catch them there, or go to iTunes and subscribe, where you can rate and review us 5 stars and nothing. And please tell a friend to do so as well.
And if you want to get in touch with us, send us an email. AmericanSlackerPodcast@gmail.com. We will get back at you promptly. And if you're feeling the need to boogie, I got you. We got you. Check out the Spotify playlist, American Slacker Podcast, and you will find every artist that's ever been featured on the show and a few that have been on the show to talk with us. Yeah.
Hell yeah, and if you want to become a Patreon sponsor of the show, we would greatly appreciate everything you do to support us. There's some awesome rewards. We're planning on adding more. We're revamping our design so we can get some stickers out to you guys. There's all kinds of content on there. Matt's done some live show stuff that you can find on there. We're going to have more Growcast type things from a collaboration we're doing with another show. So there's plenty of stuff on there to entice you to, just maybe think about throwing us $1 each month. We'd appreciate it.
Hell yeah, it goes a long way. And if you want to see what else we're up to, check out our personal shit. You can find me on Instagram at MWGmedia. And you can find me on Snapchat and my Xbox gamertag at MattyG from HP.
And you can find me on Instagram, Snapchat, and Xbox at Landers the Plane.
Alrighty, that's it. And we love every one of you. And thank you so much for tuning in, live stream or not. Check out the Instagram live stream. We haven't done a shout out to the show. I want to let everybody know we will be doing a live stream on Instagram. You can check out usually on Wednesdays or Thursdays, and we'll try to be good about getting that out to you. But yeah, until next time, that's it.
There you go.
Yeah, real Henry Rollins. Yeah.
All right, should I hit it with the script?
Hit it with the script. Lay it down on me.